Ah, the belt pulley for the back of the D4. The absolute obsolete money pit that I just can't seem to live without. We're going to work on it today, so stay tuned. Over here, the cleaner's working on cleaning up the belt pulley. How's it going, cleaner?
It's good. I got it mainly clean. I'm going to start cleaning it up, the exterior for paint now. We'll get it painted.
And while he's doing that, I'm going to take all this apart. I have a new seal to put in here. This one was seeping a little bit. We got this cap off of here, which is also a vent. And over here, on this side, this is kind of loose. Well, it's not kind of, it is loose. So I need to take that bolt out of there so I can spin this L out of here. I'll put a little sealant on there and put this back in. Should be sitting quite like that. This is the cap that screws into here. We got it plugged up for now because we're going to put paint on it. But you can kind of see in there, there's a, looks like a brass screen that just kind of filters out dirt and debris and lets this system breathe. And here's the holes in the vent. So we're going to get that cleaned up and painted as well. I'll take this off and go clean it up. You know, I probably ought to put a pan under there. There's probably stuff still in there. I just took the plug out of there and just look at how gummed up this is. That oil that was in there has turned into a jelly. We're going to put some diesel in here, kind of run this around, spin everything. I'm going to pull that seal over there. We'll clean it out real good before we put any new oil in it. Going to pull all this apart so I can get to that seal in there.
Oh, you know what that is?
What?
It's grease.
Oh, somebody packed it full of regular grease?
Yeah, look.
Oh.
That's grease.
Yeah, that is grease. Wonder what the idea of that is. If that's what's supposed to be in there? I don't know. My neighbor's roosters are up today. I'm going to have to get this off of here. Might be able to get a screwdriver or something under there to pry it up. It's a beautiful, cool, cloudy day out here again. And last night we got another ½ of rain. It is just not letting up. Here it is, early, mid-July. We're still getting the cool weather. This time last year, we were breaking 100 regularly. And today it's in the mid-60s. It's perfect for this. I'm not complaining. Look who's here. Hi. Got a chisel that hopefully I can wedge this in here and kind of pop that key out. It is not wanting to budge at all. It's starting to come out. I see it. Need a bigger pair of these. I'm getting mad at this key. It's not wanting to budge. So hopefully I can heat it, let it cool off, and hopefully it'll release it. I think it needs a little bit more. What's our solution when things don't come loose, Dad?
Heat.
Heat. I don't think that thing's budging.
Yeah, it has. You can see right here, I've got the nose tipped up, but it's not going very good.
I sure made a mess out of that.
Well, that'll all clean up.
Yeah, I know, but I'd prefer never to do it in the first place. That thing did not want to come out of there. Here. Hold against me. Pull up. There you go.
Holy Holy moly.
It did not want to leave that slot.
I'll go clean it up with the file.
That thing did not want to come out. Let's see what we got here. This is what the seal rides on, which has quite a groove in it, which is probably why this was leaking. And when I put the seal on, I'll either drive it in further or leave it out a little further so it's not riding in the same place. Yeah. And there's the seal inside there that I got a new one of. Got a washer in here. Yeah, that's kind of grooved. And there's the bearing.
Bushy.
Bushy. Oh, that's interesting. That bearing's got like oil grooves in the roller bearings. We'll take it out and clean it up. Got it cleaned up?
I got it cleaned up. I think I'll do a little more fine sanding. It'll be fine now.
And this inner race was spinning on that shaft in there. Whoever ordered this with a belt pulley definitely used it. And I'm going to have to look for a new one of these. You can see on there that bearing was grooving in there and skipping. I'm just going to replace this. I'm not going to worry about the bearing. We're not going to use this every day, but I would like to have it functional and usable if we needed to. And there's some pits right there where water got in and rusted. Wanting to salvage this belt pulley is beginning to be a big pain in my neck because it's taken a lot of money and a lot of time, and every time I take something apart on here, there's something else I find that needs repaired or replaced. And the thing of it is, I was under the assumption, and my own assumption, that this thing hardly got used, but it obviously got used. Somebody spec'd it for a reason. This belt pulley, when it's in use, it has a lot of torque from the side. So when we do get back in together with this, I'm definitely going to put some green Loctite on it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find one of these. If I can, good. If I can't, I guess I'll stick this back in, put some green Loctite on it, peen it. These grooves are not great, but for what it is, it'll run. So is that what holds this outer race? So there's an outer race on here. It says OR 310.
I don't know.
And it's really got some skips in here. It's really bad. We noticed a screw on each side, right there. And there's a hole there. There's also one underneath here. And I think that's what keeps that race, the outer race, from spinning in the housing. Got this L cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and stick it on. I noticed that the brand on this says Stockholm. Stockholm. I don't know. I feel like I got Stockholm Syndrome working on this thing. This should work. I don't have to go very far. I don't really want to use a pipe wrench and mar something up. I cleaned up these parts a little bit. I do have this seal here. This is a 1B936, and the new number for this is a 1B0936. Still waiting for a few parts, but I did manage to find this inner bearing race that's a Hyatt 310H, IR 310H, IR, I assume for inner race. This one is very, very badly pitted. This one's new old stock, and I've opened it up and looked at it. It's brand spanking new. And here's a bearing for the other side of the housing. So we're going to get that in there. Found that one new old stock on eBay. I'm waiting for the outer race. I'm not buying a new bearing. This one's going to have to just make do. I'm not going to use it that much, but I just can't stand to put something like this back in there. The problem is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the rest of the parts. This is the inner race that I have just not been able to find anywhere. And it shares the same part number in common as a John Deere D for their main wheel bearings, but they are just unobtainium. So I did get the inner one. I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to reuse the bearing. If it's easy enough, I might flip this race around backwards. It's worse on this side than it is over here. So if I could get that flipped around, that might help out a little bit. But I am going to replace the bearing on the other side here. 3B2939. So we're going to replace that. I've got the new bearing for this side. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. This looks a lot like the transmission. I definitely remember this from the transmission. So I'll get this snap ring out of here, and I will get my Ford Bronco, Ford Dana 44 hub nut wrench to take that nut off of there. Yeah, that one fits a lot better. There we go. Let me see if I can buzz this off. Sorry, I was a little off camera when I did this, but I had to hold that side over there. Should have set the camera down on a tripod. Tapped on the other side of this with a dead blow hammer, and it kind of spit it right out.
Get a tool right there and just the rest will come out. Yeah.
And inside there you can see the pinion that came off of the shaft right here. So I'm going to see if I can get this race out of here and turn it 180 degrees. Put this very worn side. I'd like to put it over here because this side of the race is not bad. Sorry you missed it, folks. Just got the race out of there, and just like I wanted to do, I was kind of able to salvage it. Cleaning up inside there, it's got a lot of gunk in there, but we're probably going to have to get this back together, put some diesel or something in there, swish it around, and then drain it again. Cleaner's already made a gasket for the other side. That's for this side here. And I'm going to put the main shaft back in and the gear. The pinion comes in from this side, just like so. And the shaft will come in from the other side. And this is a Hyatt OR 310. I'm assuming that means outer race because the one in the middle is an IR. What I'm going to do is just rotate this race just like so we can at least have this newer fresh part here down where it seems to be where it was skipping. The hard part is going to be making sure that we line up the set screw hole with the hole in this race. And that's lined up good. Easy money. Put our set screw in there. The set screw's in. I put a little thread sealer on there just to irritate Dad for cleaning up when we paint. And because that hole actually does go through to the bearing where there is oil. I'm going to put this backside in first. First, this big washer.
That's what came out. That's what's going in.
Yep. What is there? One.
Oh, there's like 8 of them.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll put them right back in. We just marked on there where the keyway goes, where the hole is, so that we can line up the nut and the lock. Ready?
Yeah.
That looks pretty close. Yeah, I think I'm good. Snap ring went right in, actually, just perfectly. We're putting a little green Loctite on here. That's more than enough.
I know. I gotta spread it.
There you go. Because that bearing doesn't want to kind of stay put where it needs to be. I'm going to stick the cap on there. And got the gasket right there Dad made. I'm going to put a little bit of sealant on it just to be on the safe side. Inner Race 310H. Was lucky enough to find one of these. It's probably as old as this tractor is. And I was kind of worried about that because The old one was kind of spinning on that shaft too. I'm going to throw some green Loctite in here, and I need to put a washer in here also. We got a little bit of green Loctite on there, actually a lot bit. Got my washer in there. Bearing next. Keep. There we go. Next other washer. Okay. That's as good as we're going to get. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is done. This belt pulley's done, or so we thought. I had dumped a little diesel in here to kind of slosh around and clean things out. It looks like we got another leak down here. So we are debating what our next step is, because we thought we were done with this. Draining out the, I guess, diesel oil concoction that I had in here to clean this out. It was kind of leaking, so. We were all set to go ahead and put this belt pulley back on the D4, throw some oil in it, and forget about it. But something dawned on me, and not only was that seal leaking, that was one of itself, but the oil level of this compartment is right here. There's a drain plug down here for this lower part, and one over here for this upper part. So the stagnant level of the oil in this is going to be right about here, which is well above this seal. And the problem is, when we took this apart, this section was packed with grease. And you could tell that this wasn't getting a lot of oil because of the bearing wear and the bearing races and damage. So I'm assuming that they probably packed this with grease to keep lubrication inside this upper housing, because it probably kept leaking out this seal. Now when this leaks, it would leak probably right inside the compartment for the transmission. Not a big deal in itself, but the big deal is you wouldn't be able to keep oil up here in the top of this. So after all that deliberation, after all that thought, we're going to go ahead and split this apart.
All right, you got to go way up more. And we'll have to put it on some blocks.
That should be plenty. We got two of them out. They're coming out really easily. Got about half the bolts out. We got to get this keyway out of this shaft and pull this cap off the top. We got the bolts out of the bottom, got it resting on some blocks, nice and tight. Strapped it down here just to hold it, because we're going to be working on this pretty heavily. This bench was at our old home place. My grandfather built this bench, and when we moved it out here, we did a little modification so it would fit with the beams and stuff here in this shop. But we also, I put this pan in here so we could work on parts just like this, and the oil will actually drain down to this corner. There's a slight slope on here, and I can catch the oil right there in a bucket. Trying to get this out, this keyway is kind of stuck in here. I'm not sure we need to take it all the way out. Got all the bolts are out all the way around. They're fine thread. They have nuts, lock washers. The two on the top are a coarse thread that go into here. So now we need to just split it apart. Kind of keep it from falling.
There might be some shims and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there probably is. There it goes.
Well, you were shaking it and coming off. It's going.
Okay. The seal we're after is behind that bearing back there. Quite a contraption, really.
How do you
There's the shift fork to put it in and out right there. And then that allows that gauge
right
to
here.
engage with that.
Oh, yeah. This should just come off out like that now.
Yep, we'll have to put some new gaskets up there. A new gasket all the way around. We might be able to salvage this one. It seems to kind of stayed in...
Nah, it's all broke up here.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. New paint job, at least we keep it from leaking. Take this, hold that gear, pull on it, and let me tap this. See if we can get it to go some more. Ready?
Yeah.
There it goes.
Okay.
See,
hold on to this.
Sometimes you need to listen to your son. He's not... There's our bearing. Okay. And that is that seal that is kind of a pain in the neck to get to, but we are definitely replacing at this point. So what we're finding out is this wasn't a shared compartment. So these were two separate compartments. And there's a seal in there that keeps this a separate compartment, which fills over there and drains under there, full of oil of its own. And then the front of this shares all the same oil. And we wager that this might have been leaking. So if it was leaking into here, that's why the back of this went dry. And that's probably what killed these bearings in this seal back here. And I did manage to get the seal out of this side of the cover that goes down here. And that's a national seal, 3B1226. I'm going to see if I can get one. And I might as well see if I can get one of those. The bad part of this story is that I probably have to take everything apart that I just put in here. And on a side note, the seller that I was waiting for this outer race for weeks and finally canceled the order and said they didn't have it, they messaged me today and said that they have one in stock. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to bother with it. Well, I'm getting very tired of this belt pulley. And I can assure you that Dad is, because every step that we've took into this thing has...
I want to move on to the engine.
Yes, we've encountered another problem everywhere. This is kind of an interesting thing, though. Here's the detent, and there's a bronze, there's shift lever. It's kind of a neat piece. Like, there's a lot of cool engineering in this. We're getting it cleaned up. These bearings in here are fine. Go ahead and take everything apart, I guess, and get that seal out of the middle here and get that fixed. Honestly, this is kind of a bridge too far with me. The cleaner's over here cleaning belt pulley parts, and what were you just saying?
What I was saying is, with all this work we're doing on this belt pulley, probably the best that it'll ever do is you'll turn it on and watch the belt pulley go round and round, and that'll be about it for about 2 minutes.
It is sad. Like, I'd love to grind feed with it or something, at least once to make it worthwhile. Somebody invite me to a thrashing show when we get this done. Hear me out, though, Dad. Like, what if there's a national emergency and some mayor or governor says, we just need somebody with a 1939 cat and a belt pulley to save us all, you know, then we'll be set, right?
Yes, in that case, yes, you would be set.
Well, if you ever wondered if green Loctite actually works, it works. And now I have to deal with it. Not only here, but the bearing on this side also. And what a great day. The cleaner got all this cleaned up pretty nice inside there. And we really painted ourselves in a corner here, putting green Loctite on all this stuff. Because now we can't get it apart.
Loosen that nut. That's probably got shims behind it,
yeah,
too.
We'll have to keep an eye on the shims. So
Yeah.
what did we learn here?
We learned that probably in the future we will completely take things apart, and if parts are good, we'll put them back in, but we don't want to be doing these things twice.
No, and what else did we learn about green Loctite?
Green Loctite is cool stuff. We learned that you get it heated up to about 480 degrees, and it releases and slides right off.
Yep. And we had to do that. We saved all our parts. So the next thing we got to do is take that nut off in there. And we want to pull this shaft out of here and fix that seal. Also notice that there's free play in there. And that flange that goes all the way around there is loose.
That might be a job for green Loctite.
Yeah, that's probably going to get some green Loctite. There's no doubt in my mind it was leaking there. At the end of this shaft, there's a pinion and a nut and a cotter key, and we've been fighting this cotter key for quite some time. We got it most of the way out, but boy, we are really fighting it. Yay! Let's see that thing. That's like a 1/4-inch cotter key. It's heavy. It's hot in here today, isn't it? What it? God,
it's a brute.
Yeah, this belt pulley. We've had some very bad thoughts about this belt pulley. Using a punch and a hammer, got that nut in there a little loose. We don't have any tools that would reach in there and fit it, but it's loose to the point I can hold it with a pair of water pump pliers, and Dad can unscrew this shaft here. Now it's like a baboon. It won't release the nut. Till... There it is.
Oh, what a bugger.
All right, will that pull out now?
Well, no.
That thing's probably pressed on. Oh, no.
What?
There's a keyway in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It ain't pulling out.
Yeah. Got a bit of a problem. There's a Woodruff key in there and that gear in there, and I think that's pressed on, and I'm trying to figure out a way that we can get this shaft out of there. And we obviously got a problem. Cleaner's over here cleaning. We're trying to figure this one out.
Yep.
And we're not happy with the belt pulley. And because we can't get anything in here to give us a little bit of pressure to push this out, I've resorted to a power pack. And I've got a rod in there to press against that'll kind of match the curvature of this casting. I know it's probably not the best resort, but it's our last resort. So we're going to give it a try. Hey, come loose. Something come loose.
It was pushing it out.
Yeah, because yeah. I felt it.
I could see it moving out. You're up against your gear.
No, I'm not. Well, this is an extremely sad story, and I knew better, but we just could not get that, and we still cannot get that to budge in there. I thought that I'd put something round in here and just give it a little bit of pressure and press that shaft out of there. And unfortunately, it broke the housing. So the belt pulley for the D4 is done. I do want to thank you for watching. Sorry to leave the episode like this. You're probably as disappointed as I am, but I really don't know what to do at this point. I'll maybe ask around, see if I can find another one, but at this point, I'm at a loss. Are you inspecting today? What are you inspecting? Ow, claws. Ow, claws. Ow. No claws, kitty. I thought Dad was bad, but you are the ultimate camera bomb. Oh, jumping. No claws. Now, put them claws away. Now. What are you doing, kitty? I know. We're buddies. That's just a screwdriver. It's nothing for you.